Welcome to the Dangerous Man Podcast, where we talk about how to become a better man, take responsibility for our mission, create value for others, and the many failures and lessons we've learned along the way. Stay dangerous. What is up, guys? You are listening to the Dangerous Man Podcast. This is your host, John Kostohris, joined by co-host
Adam Thooft. What's up, boys? What's poppin'?
What's up? Welcome to another episode of Masculine Excellence.
Yeah.
Today we have a special guest on the show. The first of many occurrences, I'm sure. A dear friend of mine and Adam's, actually, from our hometown of St. Paul, Minnesota.
Yo.
This is our friend Peter Gjengdahl. Hi, Peter.
Yo. How we doing?
Pete is he's an entrepreneur. He's building a business, inspiring on others to grow in their own personal health, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And he is a couple years ahead of Adam and I, age-wise. And he's just a really inspiring and driven, passionate man. And he's willing to say things that will be a little bit, you could say, unkosher for the sake of being willing to say what needs to get said. And I really respect that about him. Today, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Peter?
Yeah. A little bit about me.
What's your elevator pitch, you know?
Full disclosure, I'm a mechanic. And I don't want to be a mechanic.
Yeah.
You used to want to rebuild heavy construction equipment. I specialize in transmissions. Rebuild transmissions. I've got 500 or so under the belt. Out of like big old Cat and Agco machines. So that's a good time. If you need me to fix your car, don't ask. Because I don't want to figure it out. I'll do my own.
Unless it weighs 5 times as much as your car. And
yeah.
Each part is worth probably 10 times as much.
You got a 7,000-pound transmission for me to rebuild? Perfect. If it's anything smaller than that, I don't want it. No.
Get out of here.
Yeah. So I'm I live in West St. Paul. Just living, trying to build my business. And then helping other people build their businesses. That's kind of become my thing. I've really taken to personal excellence, pretty hardcore in the past year. I had been like on my A game, and then I threw it away when the government made some decisions, and I let that bitch voice win in my life pretty hard. So I had to make some real hard choices. And this past year has been pretty extreme in that department.
A big turnaround, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I've lost 115 pounds in the past 11 and a half months.
Let's go.
Damn. So
that right there, guys, for our listeners, we like, come on. That's if that ain't dangerous, I don't know what is. Like, give me a break. Like,
yeah. It's been a hell of a ride. I'm like hella proud of what I've done, what I've accomplished. But like everyone's like, "Oh man, I'm so proud of you." Dude, I hear those words and I don't know how to react. Yeah. Because part of me is like, I'm like, yeah, thanks. But like, what are you supposed to say? What are you supposed to say when someone says that they're like super proud of you, or they're like, I'm so happy for you? What am I supposed to say in response to that? I don't know. It's just something that
Is it because like you feel like you shouldn't have been in that position in the first place, or?
Sort of. The other reason is because I look at where I've gotten to, and I'm still like, I'm not done yet. So why are you saying I'm proud? Like to me, I just that's where I have a problem with it, is because I'm like, I'm not done yet. This I'm in the process of sculpting myself into who I'm becoming. That's the beauty of being a man, is
in a way, quite literally.
Oh yes
with 100 pounds again.
Yeah. I just took a chisel to my chest and I'm going at it. No. But like that's basically what it was, or what it is to be like being a man is like.
Subscribe now.
Absolutely. Click that button. No, it's like
Chisel Fitness, baby.
Business idea. For me, it's like as a man, we're able to we sculpt ourselves. We get to be, we're like the author of ourselves, like how we design our lives, how we create our lives to be. So like when we're living our life, we're choosing the things that we want to do, and then as we do them, so it's like, oh, I want to go lift weights. One of my heroes for the gym is Chris Bumstead. Shout out, 4-time absolute unit, Mr. Olympia. But he, like, watching him train and how he's like literally like every move, every motion in the gym is designed to enhance and make a certain part of his body like look a certain way. And we get to do that. And that's like part of being a man, is like designing who we want ourselves to be. We wake, like when you were born, there's no like script for your life. Like it's just, you exist now, like God created you, but now it's okay, what am I going to do with that? Who am I going to become? Because that's what we're trying to figure out, like, I want to be a dangerous man. What is that? Who are dangerous men, that I look up to or that I respect? And then what are the traits that I really like about them? And how can I exemplify that or live up to that, And then, when I say sculpt, like quite literally being in the gym now, like, this whole year, I just started going to the gym again, which that might really shock people.
You didn't lose that.
I didn't lose the weight. I didn't lose that weight by being in the gym. That was pure diet.
Wow.
Pure diet. The last maybe month I've been in the gym. In my body, I'm just like rebuilding a whole bunch of muscle right now. So like my weight doesn't look like I'm losing weight anymore, but that's fine. Because I know I can feel how my body's changing. Like I just had to punch a couple holes in my belt just this week, and I'm like, oh shit, yeah, let's go. Like that's what I want. That's what I'm looking for. So yeah, that's a little bit, maybe a little bit about me, a little bit more, I don't know, a little less.
Yeah. I love it.
That's great. That's a pretty good introductory of what you've been up to and what you're about and what you're doing. I think that's really cool.
And I think it's such a testament to, like, it's interesting how you said, like, people saying I'm proud of you and whatnot, and you're like, well, I'm not done yet. Like, no. That doesn't do that much for me.
He's not finished yet.
Yeah, and it's just like, I don't know. I could get on the whole soapbox of like going and sharing all of your goals with people, and then you kind of lose your edge with it.
Yep.
But if you keep it if you keep it in, and you're like, no, I know where I'm going. It keeps a chip on your shoulder, Other
hero, Andy Frisella talks about the chip on his shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, when he goes off on that, I'm like, yep, right there. Weak-minded people don't get it. The people who are like, I'm going somewhere in this life, dude, they understand the chip on the shoulder. And it's not like a, for him, it's the whole, I want to ram it down their throat about how wrong they are. To me, I'm like, I don't necessarily want to like ram it down someone's throat. Like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that to me. It's just, that's not necessarily who I am. And that's fine. I'm not, bothered by that, but I'm like to me, it's just maybe a little less extreme. It's like, I'll rub your face in it. Like, haha, you never believed in me. Or people who are like, oh, dude, I like telling you like, no, what you're doing stupid. Like, you're never going to make it. Then when they're like hitting that success and people are like, oh, dude, I've always believed in you. It's like, oh, I actually remember when you, when you said that I was stupid for trying. Just like
calling them on their shit.
Dude, I'll call them out on it, and they're always like, oh shit, like damn. And it's like, yeah, you don't have to lie to me. Keep it real, guys. You didn't believe in me, but that whatever. Here's me proving you wrong.
Yeah, and now that I've proved you wrong, now you believe in me because you know I can do things.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
There's a saying that I heard recently, and it's people are never like excited that you did something or accomplished something. They're surprised that you accomplished it in something. And
yeah,
I just had a huge shift with that.
That's honestly, that pisses me off a little bit. Like, I think that's honestly something that I experienced sometimes growing up when I would like do something. I'm like, oh, this is a cool thing I did. And I think like, even my parents would be like, oh, okay. They wouldn't be like, oh, good for you. Let's go. Like, yeah, we're pumped that you got this thing, did this thing. And we're like, oh, okay.
Wow. Like, I didn't realize you were capable of that. And it's like, that's almost like what it is. And it's like, gee, thanks.
Like, but didn't you want me to chase my dreams at some point? Like, were you just expecting me not to do anything?
Dude, so one of the things that I kind of, that bothers me about that is like that the people being surprised is it's like they actually have like zero faith in you. It's not even like
that's exactly what it is.
Hey, I have, I think you can do something great with your life, whatever. But then it's like, no, they legitimately don't. Like they put you into a box.
Like that means nothing.
We put everyone into a box, and then if somehow you step outside of that box, people are like, wait, what? Did you just get out of the box that I created for you? Like you're not allowed to do that. And you're like, watch me.
Because they're like, wait, I thought I was God.
Damn. Well, on that note,
yeah, Adam's not God, and he doesn't think he's God.
yeah.
That's someone saying.
Disclaimer.
That's someone saying like, oh, like I created this box for you, and now you're breaking out of that. You're not allowed to do that because out of like, I guess a lot of human pride. For people is like, no, like the labels that I put on people, that's what they have to stay as.
Yep.
Because if they change, then like, what's my worldview? And I think that's like the huge thing about us becoming dangerous men is like, we're breaking those labels and then like waking people up to like what life is and like what's possible.
Yeah.
One thing
like
I want
Matrix,
Yeah.
Right. So one of the things I do want to say, touch on with that though, is it's not, I mean, yes, people are surprised when we step outside of the box that they've created for us. But I think it's also that they are upset at themselves for not
stepping out of their box.
For not stepping out of their own box that they've created for themselves. Like that they don't have what you have. And so they're like jealous or they're angry or they're like, whatever. They start to compare themselves.
Yeah.
And they're like, man, he did it. And I don't know that I have what it takes. And so they kind of freak out about it. I have someone in my life who likes to talk about like, oh man, I'd love to like lose all this weight or whatever. And I'm like, I can help you with that. Like that's who I am. I'm down to help people. That's how you build a big business is you focus on others, But like to me, it's like, hey, I can help you with this. And this individual always has the same mentality, the same like mindset of like, well, no, it worked for you, but there's no way it would work for me.
Yeah, it's like shameful comparison.
Yeah.
And like shameful comparison is like the thief of joy. And I think it steals your money too, to be honest.
Facts. It's so mindset driven and
specifically the shameful part though.
Yeah.
Because I don't look at comparison as the thief of joy. That's actually something that a lot of people say. I don't look at it like that.
What kind of comparison are you doing?
Right. Who are you comparing yourself to and why?
That's why when a lot of people say like, oh, like comparing leads to despairing or something like that is like, well, what kind of comparing are you doing? Because you do have to look at other people and say like, hey, what that person is doing is really cool. I should maybe do more of that. But I need to compare myself to them and like, okay, what are they doing that I'm not doing?
Yes.
You still have to make that comparison. But at the same time.
And then fucking go do something about it.
And then fucking go do something about it. But like, you can sometimes be like, oh, they're really great. That's in those ways, I am not great. Therefore, I am shit. You're not shit. And you might just have some shitty parts that you might just be in some shit and you need to get rid of that shit.
Yep.
Like I see guys doing big things or doing something better than me. And it doesn't trigger a comparison of jealousy and shame anymore. If anything, it just calls me on where I'm slacking off and where I'm soft and where I embrace the victim mindset and I live in shit. And it actually, now it's just like, oh yeah, I don't want to be that way. So I'm going to change. I want to be like them. Like it inspires me.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like before, it would just be like, it would remind me of how despairing my life was because I had no hope and I had no purpose. I had no vision of where I was going with my life.
Like now I wish I would like run into more people that drove like really nice cars, like dummy nice cars. So I can be like, so how the fuck did you get to be able to afford that? Dude, let me know how you did that. Because I'm going to probably copy some of the stuff that you're doing.
I'll roll the window down now and I'll literally go, ow, ow. And it's just like, dude, that's what's up. Good ride. I'll do that shit now because I just like, it gets me jacked, you know?
So I was merging onto the freeway. And for those who know me, I have a like borderline completely straight piped Suburban. I love it. I love the crackle of the exhaust, you know, everything.
It's got character.
Oh yeah. So I'm pulling on the freeway and I look in my mirror in my left hand like driver's side mirror, and pulling up like behind me is a C6 ZR1, so a Corvette. Dude is like slammed, like that thing's like borderline touching the ground, like the lip, like everything. I can hear him coming up on me and I'm like, oh yeah. Like I love Corvettes. I love cars, total car guy. But we pull up at the stoplight later on and the dude pulls up next to me and he rolls his window down. I roll my window down and like, I had my music going, but I shut it off and like I'm like, bro, that thing's sick. And he goes, dude, your Suburban sounds awesome. And I was like, oh, my heart, like
I feel so affirmed.
I did. It was dumb, but I loved it. I was
It's
like,
real.
that's awesome. Like, you know, total mad props moment. So that was freaking sweet.
Love it, guys.
Yes.
Believe it or not, this is just a little bit of intro, friends catching up banter, and that's one reason I love podcasting. I'm like, and this is one reason I love doing this. I told Adam, I was like, dude, I feel like a podcast is just a good phone conversation with a friend.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's like if I can't even see you guys, but I'm like talking and I can hear you in my headphones, like I'm having a great time because it's just a good conversation, you know? So part of like what I love doing here is being able to bring people and they'll just capture these conversations. So that's how I would kind of synthesize this little bit of us having some fun here. But I'd love to just kind of dig into, we have a topic today that we wanted to discuss, something that's near and dear to my heart, to Adam's heart, to Peter's heart. And actually, Peter's the one who originally somehow found about this book that I'm about to introduce. The book is called Hard Times Create Strong Men. And it's a self-help book written by, and I don't really like the term self-help, but
I hate that term.
Self-improvement.
It's a man the fuck up book.
Thank you.
Yeah, that.
Yes. It is written by Stefan Arnio. The book discusses basically a bunch of ideas about just the experiences and challenges that really kind of lead to us to personal growth and development as men. And kind of according to Stefan, these hard times forge strong character traits, and such as like resilience, determination, perseverance. And it's kind of like a don't give any fucks, no complaining, no bitches here, kind of a mentality to the book. And yeah, Peter's the first one who found that, and it just kind of got passed around our friend group, and we find it kind of ourselves recircling to re-listen to this book. And yeah, kind of one of the topics that we drew out of it that we wanted to talk about today is essentially embracing hardship as a means of strengthening our own personal character as men. The benefits of kind of tackling, it's two parts. And the secondly, like the benefits of tackling a lot of challenges earlier in life rather than letting our victim mindset get to us and letting it kicking down the road and making excuses.
Mm-hmm.
But that said, yeah, I know. Let's just kind of talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have some thoughts on that, Peter, you want to lead off on for us.
Yeah, I think that one of the biggest parts about this, so when we embrace hardship, there's a certain level of like just owning, like taking ownership of the hard things, of the things that are uncomfortable, that like we as men have to do. We have to choose to do the hard thing. Growing up, my dad always used the phrase eat the frog. That was his way of saying do the hard thing first. And like I now every time that I'm like, oh man, I got something I need to do, but I don't want to do it. It's like, okay, why don't I want to do it? Am I trying to shirk the responsibility of this thing, or am I just being lazy about it? Like, kind of why? And then instead of dwelling on the why, just recognizing why, just so I understand myself a little bit better, and then just going and doing it. Because when you embrace that hardship, like for me, okay, when you choose to go to the gym and you choose to lift heavy weights, what you're doing is you're doing something hard. But let me tell you, if you don't do that and you go through your life and you just eat shit and you don't take care of your body and you drink 8 to 12 cans of beer every single day and you get fat as shit, it's hard. It's hard being super overweight. Like I was 335 pounds. That's fat. Like that's fucking huge.
Damn.
And it's uncomfortable. It's not good looking. I don't care what anyone says. This whole like body acceptance, body positivity shit in the world right now. Fuck that, dude. You're lying to yourself. Anyone who's encouraging you, if you're like actually like that overweight, bro, no. People are lying straight to your fucking face. They do not love you for it. All that people are looking at is they're going, well, sweet, they're not on the market. Like I don't have to worry about that person, taking a potential, partner
Prospect.
Or whatever. Yeah, a prospect. Oh yeah, dude. No, it's like
100%.
When you were a higher weight, Peter, did you get that a lot? Of like, oh, just be like who you are.
Oh, all the fucking time. It actually pissed me off.
It's pissing me off right now here.
I legitimately got angry at people when people were like, well, you're not that big.
Yeah.
I was like, the fuck you mean I'm not that big? I'm huge. I was like, I'm
I
huge,
look in the mirror
bro.
every fucking day.
I look in the mirror.
I know what I
walk up the stairs and I'm winded. I take my German Shepherd on a walk and I'm winded. Like I'm breathing heavy after a block. I'm exhausted. What do you mean I'm not that big? Don't lie to me like that. Cause I look at that as someone's lying to my face and that pisses me off. I'm like, don't lie to me.
They're so uncomfortable with, uncomfortable topics and realities around them that they're not willing to admit it as it is. And they're afraid of, their own judgments, and then they feel guilty. So they have to say something as a pity. You know what I mean? Like they're unafraid just to like admit it as it is, or
what I look at it as?
I have to say this because of me, not because of Peter.
I look at it as them saying it to themselves.
That's exactly.
They're legitimate. Like people are legitimately being like in their head when they tell me, well, you're not that big, or you're not as big as so and so, or whatever. They're legitimate. They're simply creating the excuse for themselves. They're saying it so that they can hear it and they internalize it for themselves. So they like look at themselves in the mirror and they're legitimately thinking, well, I'm not as big as Peter. But they're like, hey man, like it's okay.
Yeah.
You're not that big. It's not that bad. They're saying that for themselves. They don't give a shit what I think. They don't care. They want to sound nice and friendly, whatever. But like, they don't give a fuck. And that's what pisses me off about it is it's like, you're being so like disingenuous. Like, come on, wrap it up, man. Like this, I don't, it's not that
100%.
hard to be just like blatantly honest. I had a buddy who told me last year, he told me, if you don't lose 50 pounds this year, I want you to shake my hand and tell me you're going to go see a doctor about this. Like legit. And I was like, that was the most helpful thing anyone's ever said to me.
Wow.
Like, if you can't do this for yourself, I'm going to force you to go get help. And it was like, oh shit. Okay. This dude actually cares about me. Like, that's what's up. That was brotherhood. That's what I needed. Yeah. I needed someone to look me in the eye and be like, and just call me on my shit and be like, hey, bro, you're fat.
Yeah. Like bro, I know 4 fat people and you're 3 of them.
Yeah. Fuck me, mate. That's what it was. That's what it was, dude.
That's cold, man. That's it.
Oh,
I love it.
Shit. That's totally a your mom joke that you just used there.
I may have seen that on social media at some point. So.
Yes.
I know we were kind of talking about this, guys, but earlier before the kind of the pre-show show. Believe it or not, that is a thing. And we just talked about like embracing the benefits that come in our life as a man, and developing our character by embracing hardship and learning from it. And I know we kind of nuanced this. First of all, we'll talk about what that even is, but we nuanced this with like, it's super important to do this sooner than later. And the idea of like, oh, people just dodge hardship all the time. And an example for this for me is just like, it's so easy to come home from work and just hop on the computer and start playing some video games, quote unquote, unwind, and maybe truthfully so.
Mm-hmm.
But I know just the themes we've discussed before of control. And, I was listening to Stefan, the Hard Times Create Strong Men book today in the car and kind of re-going through it. And one thing he said was, people like men are designed to solve problems, whereas women are very much designed to be very relational, and be able to have a kind of like a supreme, supernatural, feminine genius to them, and an intuition on conversations and deeper things.
To emote is the word that he uses.
Yes,
it's just a phenomenal word.
And men we solve problems, and so it was like, when we sit in front of TV and watch football, he says we're actually solving problems in our head, and we don't want to talk. We don't want there to be conversation.
Mm-hmm.
When I get home and I play video games, these video games have been designed to have all of the dopamine triggers. It's like right away and get me hooked. And even more importantly than that, though, like if I were to build a business, it might take 2, 5, 10 years. And it's a commitment. I'm embracing the hardship of this journey. But a video game, I can basically in 5%, 5% of the time and effort, I can shortcut into some of those same dopamine triggers and some of those same, like I solved problems and came to something like impactful and meaningful. So, obviously it's all simulated, but all of a sudden you have these guys that are trading long-term resilience and kind of this idea of I'm be willing to even embrace hardship and formation because it's easy to do other things like in my life, playing video games. They just throw the cannon on that altogether. I want to talk about, like, can we talk about how important maybe some of our story, really realizing that switch to wanting to embrace hardship in our own lives? Yeah,
honestly, like a video game thing kind of relates a lot to me because, like, dude, video games are addictive as shit, and they're designed to be. Sometimes I look at how much time I've spent playing video games. I'm like, what the fuck? like like, bro, like I look at like just, and like, obviously there's people that have played a lot more video games than I have, which when I think about it is like kind of sad. But like,
Yeah.
even if I just look at how much I've played old school RuneScape, it's over 60 days of in-game time. That's 60 days of my life, dude.
Jeez.
Like, imagine how much you can get done in 60 days. And that's like continuous time, like 60 days of not sleeping. Granted, like some of it is AFK where I'm not actually like at the computer, but like definitely the majority of it was not. So,
Sure.
and like, that's just like one example of like, how much time are we just wasting doing like these other little things when like your actual life is just kind of falling apart because you're not doing the shit that you're supposed to be doing. And I definitely recall like one of the big switches for me was like kind of realizing that like I had my friends, some of my friends in real life, and then like that I'd interact in real life, and then I have some like friends that I played video games with, and then I realized like, wait, I feel like I'm kind of living like two lives, like a virtual one and like a quote unquote real one, like in real life, like IRL kind of thing, to use internet lingo.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I feel like I'm almost like a different person in some ways in them. And then I was just like kind of talking to some of the couple of the guys that I was playing video games with, and we were just kind of like getting a little deep. I went to high school with the guys. Is fun. But one of the guys was like I was talking like, oh man, like I feel like I'm living two lives kind of. And he's like, and one of the guys was like, oh yeah, I kind of understand like the real life, virtual life thing. I think I'm only really living one life. I mean, it might be the virtual one, but like, and I'm like, oh fuck. Like,
wow. He said that to you?
Yeah. And I'm just going like, shit, like that's not what I don't want to live a virtual life and then just do fucking nothing with my real one, you know? And like from like my experiences of like doing ministry and traveling with that and like experiencing like the joy in that and of real things that matter, I'm like, why would I trade like the real stuff for this fake shit? Where it's like, yeah, this video game is fun, but as soon as you turn it off, like there's no satisfaction there. Whereas like in real life, like you're not going to escape real life other than dying. So like once you accomplish something, you've kind of accomplished it forever.
Yeah. What I want to know is like, what's below the surface with that? I'm hearing you talk about your experience with these video games, and this friend says this line to you about, you know, the virtual life.
Yeah.
I was pretty moved when you said, I've thought about the things I've done that have given me purpose in life, and I want to go and live my life and have it be meaningful, impactful. Like, oh, I felt kind of shook by that. I'm not gonna lie. That was, but like, what the question that bubbled up to my mind with that was, what is kind of the deeper thing that inspired you? Because obviously it's really, really hard to choose to lean into responsibility and ownership. But like, I almost think of like this meaning and purpose. Like, you get to embark on this journey and you get to see that you've gone somewhere and did things. I don't think you could say the same thing about a virtual life.
I mean, like some people that like are really into video games could like argue that and be like, oh, well, I achieved this in this video game and I like made videos about it and people liked those videos and I made money from it. And I'm like, okay, but you're literally just like justifying you playing video games by real world wins. So it's like, why don't just make wins in the real world? But also like it, like you can like get like quote unquote gangs in the virtual world, and then your virtual friends that play that video game with you or whatnot will like be like, oh, nice, man, you did that thing, like good for you. But it's also like, yeah, but I just spent 20 hours trying to get one item. Or something, or even more. So it's like it and when does it end? You know, because they keep updating the game, so it's like it just winds you into it to keep going. Like video games now are like, a lot of them are designed to basically be lifestyle. Like another game that I played a lot of, League of Legends, like in order to be good at it, you have to basically play it for 5 hours plus a day. And they update it so often that's like, if you're out of it for a little while, you're like, well, I don't know what half of these items do anymore.
Wow.
So like I have to like research on what's like the meta, what's like the good stuff to use.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, you just gotta put in a whole bunch of work to figure it out. And like at a certain point I was like, why would I put work into, you know, playing these video games when I could be putting work into actual like work? And like in a time after high school when I was just working and just manual labor pushing carts, a lot of the time I just think about like, how can I get better at video games? Where it's like, bro, if I had like switched my like flipped the switch before that, like, and like thought about like, how can I accomplish stuff in real life? Like, damn, like I would have, like, I feel like I would have been so farther along. Now, obviously, like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I wish I did better, but I like, this is just a giant rant because I'm like kind of pissed off about how much time I've spent on video games. I'm like,
Yeah.
I wasted all of my life, but at the same time, it's like I've learned lessons from it too.
I think the big takeaway with video games is just that it's an easy way to get the dopamine, and it's an easy way to get the experience of solving problems and I think like what we're trying to really kind of hinge on is like, I just want to open up for discussions, like what's the benefits of tackling challenges early on? And what are some ways we can like let's not make it about video games. That was just like a quick example.
Mm-hmm.
Let's like shift and be like, what are things that, I want to hear your thoughts on that, Pete.
Yeah. Before I say it, Adam, you mentioned the amount of time, like days you spent on RuneScape.
Yeah.
That's just shy of 1,500 hours.
Yeah.
So when Stefan talks about the statistic of, in order to become a master of something that's either 10 years or 10,000 hours, that's like well on your way. Or people will be like, oh, I just, I don't want to spend the time to get good at this thing. It's like, bro, the time's going to pass anyway. Mm-hmm. So you might as well just bite the bullet and do it.
Yeah.
And I think that ties perfectly into what we're talking about right now, which is doing the hard things first. Or not even first, but like doing them, knowing that that's what you have to do to step in, embracing hardship.
What does that mean?
What does it mean, or what does it mean to me?
To you?
To me, I look at like when I hear the word embrace, I always think of like there's two different formats. One is like a firm handshake of like grabbing hold, looking another person in the eye, and being like kind of like that I see you embrace, or it's just a full on bear hug. I'm either or. I love both of those formats for greeting people, but that's how I interpret the word embrace. And then hardship is obviously anything that's difficult in your life. It can be small things, it can be big things. But when you embrace hardship, it's like grabbing hold of it and being like, I see you, and I'm now gonna own you. Not in a, when you meet someone, it's not like that, but like with the hard things, grabbing hold of it and being like, I have this. I'm in control now. Like I pride myself in how good of a hug I give. Little shout out, props to me.
This is very true.
I literally have won contests in multiple places where they were like, all right, we're going to have the best hug award. And I was unanimously voted number one. So that's, major props. Toot my own horn on that one. But here's kind of where my brain goes with this is, if we attempt if we attempt to avoid the discomfort of the hardship, we're going to end up being far more uncomfortable in the long run. So if you don't just like go do it, like whatever it is, I keep saying it because it is the hardship. It's the thing that's difficult for you right now. Let's say it is, you want to be in the gym. Let's say it's, you want to lose the weight, but you don't know how. And you're like, oh, I got to do this research, and then I gotta like learn about this. No. Like, pick a diet and just start lifting. Like, go to the gym. Okay, here's one. People always think about, I don't want to look stupid in the gym. You have no idea how little people look at you in the gym. Like, I kid you not. Like, if you walk into the gym,
they're looking at themselves.
People are looking at themselves. They're looking at themselves in the mirror. I don't care. Like, you could be the best looking human being. You walk into the gym. If I look up and see you, I might notice you, but my brain is literally going, okay, how many sets do I have left? Look, human. Okay, I got this many sets, this many lifts. This is what I'm doing next. I'm not paying attention to you. No one's paying attention to you.
I got to keep my back a little straighter on that one.
And even if they like do look at like you or what you're doing from your phone, you're not gonna be like, wow, you're doing it wrong. You fucking suck at this. Leave.
No,
like,
no, because everybody knows if you're in a gym, it's because you want to get better.
Yeah.
You want to be better. So
you could just feel that in the air too.
Go do it. The atmosphere there is literally designed for people who are scared to be there. Okay. And if you're like, oh, I had a bad experience, cool. Punch that person in the throat and keep going. Do it again. Go back. I'm not encouraging violence, but I'm sort of encouraging violence.
Mentally punch them in the throat.
Right. And then okay, let's say someone did say something.
Is what we're saying. Move past it.
Use it. Put that in the chip on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay. Go prove them wrong. If someone says something stupid or something snide to you, put that in a chip on your shoulder and go get bigger, more massive, whatever than them. Okay. Outlift them. Whatever you have to do, do it. Now it's just something to push you harder.
That's fuel, baby.
It's fuel for the fire. Use that. You're not avoiding the discomfort. And so you're gonna embrace that. Okay. You're gonna step into that discomfort. You're gonna step into that place where you're kind of like, this is a little uncomfy. Good. Step into that. Own that space. Make it your bitch. Okay. Like hold on to that thing, grab discomfort by the balls and control it. Like that's, this is what I'm talking about. This is like, this is what I'm doing now. Like this is what I'm living now. I let that bitch voice win. I let that situational, oh, but I just don't want people to look at me weird, whatever. Dude, I was literally getting off work at 2 a.m. and I would go to the gym after work.
I remember that.
There was no one there. What was I afraid of? The one other person that might show up at my 24-hour club? Like, I don't care what people think of me. Like, I legitimately don't. But for some reason, I psyched myself out in this like, oh, but what if someone else is there? What if they see me at 335 pounds? Like, dude, you go to work, everyone that you work with, your whole family, everybody sees you like this. You can't hide that. So why you're in the gym? That means you're trying to lose it. You're trying to be better.
And I feel like if I saw like a 330-pound man in the gym at 3 a.m. or something like that, I'd be like, damn, like
this guy's devoted. He wants to get better. Right. Right. So I don't know why. I don't know why that part of that bitch voice won. But like, okay, so let's move into this. Like that when we talk about hard times create strong men, I kind of want to talk about that, the whole poem. I forget who the poem is by. But it's strong men create good times.
You got this.
Good times create weak men create hard times create strong men. So it kind of goes full circle. It's roughly on an 80-year cycle.
Yeah.
Right now in America, which we're obviously from America, land of the red, white, and blue.
America, baby.
Yeah, hell yeah. So it's very much so. Like you look at the state of like the political state. You look at like where we're at. We're moving into a harsh recession. I mean, we're economically we're in a recession right now. We're definitely moving into a more like urgent kind of situation. If you look at the stock markets that leading into the 2008 recession, it's like borderline identical. Where we're at right now, we're literally on the precipice. So that's kind of, something where it's like, all right, that's a little terrifying. But at the same time, it's like, wow, what a time to be alive. Like we're literally at this point in history where like we can look back and see how people reacted in the 2008 recession. And you see what businesses came out like hella on top. Like that were like, oh, they went all in through this thing. They like poured everything that they had into it. And then when they came out on the other side of that recession, their companies were booming. Like, I mean, I'm talking booming. But then the companies that didn't, the groups that were like, oh, we're gonna batten down the hatches and we're gonna try and like save ourselves.
Go into reserve
mode.
mode.
Go into reserve mode. They got obliterated. Like there was no coming back from it. They were toasted. And that's like what we're moving into. So it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
totally. As much as I'm not like, oh, I'm excited about a recession. I'm also like, I look at it as a time of growth. Like to be steady, to create and build these habits now. So that when we come out of this thing, we come out running. Because I want to come out sprinting.
Oh yeah.
I used to have a phrase. It was like a tagline. People would be like, "Oh, let's go for a run." And my phrase was, "If you ever see me running, you should probably start running too, because something bigger and scarier than me is coming, and I'm afraid to fight it."
So, they're probably not running from you.
Yeah, it's not running from me. You should get out ahead of me, because I was probably gonna be the slower thing. So that was just my.
That's changing now, though.
It has changed.
This guy's
you lose 115 pounds and you find out you actually got wheels.
Dude,
I can move. It's pretty fun. I can't wait to hit like the ultimate frisbee course and shit.
Oh,
Like, dude, it's gonna be awesome. But yeah, so like this is, I mean, dude, there's so much here with like embracing the hardship, like stepping up to it. It's like when in the MLB, Major League Baseball, when you step up to that plate and you like look 100-mile-an-hour fastball in the eye. Like you're staring at this thing that like could kill you if the pitcher throws it wrong. It hit you right in the face and kill you. But you trust him to do his deal, and then you're gonna do yours. Right? So you're stepping in, you're stepping up to the plate. You're like, all right, this hard thing is coming at me. It's coming at me no matter what. I'm gonna hit it, and I'm gonna hit it hard. I'm going to give this thing everything I've got. I don't care what it is. I mean, it's fun to talk about like the big things. But like maybe it's, you need to wake up earlier in the morning. This is one that I've like totally struggled with is waking up on time. Being on like the late shift for work for such a long time, like messed me up mentally. And so I've had to work really, really hard to get my brain to shut off earlier at night, versus being up until 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, because now I have to wake up on a regular basis around 5:30 in the morning, which to some people that's nothing, to other people that's super early, to each their own. But like going from that was like a decent time for me to fall asleep to now that's when I have to wake up. that was a big shift. That's been hard.
Oh yeah.
And so being like, okay, well, how do I train myself to actually do that thing? Has definitely been a struggle. And so like that aspect of it is like, okay, that's a hard thing. That's a hardship for me. So what do I do in order to actually kind of step up to that? You know, maybe it's all right, I start preparing for bed earlier at night. Okay, that's, in theory, that sounds good. Well, what if my brain doesn't want to turn off until like 2 a.m. on average? Okay, what are some tips and tricks that I can start to learn that I can begin to like get my brain to start turning off earlier, and that so I've seen some of my coworkers, they make the switch in like no time, and it takes them like 3 weeks and they're good. And then there's me, and I'm like, it was like 8 months of like struggle. Like I was late to work so many times I got written up. Like
Wow.
it was like, oh my gosh. But it was like, okay, cool, that happened, that the day that it happened, I fell asleep at 4:30 in the morning, and then I didn't wake up until 7:15, and I'm supposed to start at 7:30. And so it was like, there's no way I can drive a 22-minute drive in that a little amount of time. Like there's fast and then there's impossible.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I took it right up, but that was whatever. I kind of got a good chuckle out of it. But like, okay, so the hardship of that, what do you do in that to like actually begin to learn and to understand and to like face that, there's so many things that you can do, but picking something and then working on it, and then finding something else and starting to work on that too. And okay, it's cool. So it's starting to go to bed earlier, trying to go to bed earlier, laying down, no screen time, really close to bed. Like try and go 2 hours without being on your screen before bed. Maybe trying to take like a little sleepy time, or like the little
some melatonin,
like a melatonin
gummies.
gummy or something. I got some of those in my business. Super good. But
I take them every night, actually.
Dude, they're amazing.
They're magical.
If I take it anything later than like 9 o'clock now, I'll probably oversleep. Like dude, it's only 1.5 milligrams of friggin' melatonin, like hardly anything. Like that combined with the lavender or whatever else, dude, Neutralite, they know what they're doing. But like, so cool. This is that's good. That's the hardship of it. Learning it, learning yourself, and then moving through that. Yeah,
absolutely. It's just, I think what's so moving to me about the message from Stefan is he just gives it to you straight, and he's like, hey, like, are you gonna whine and say your boss is mean because he just tells you the truth? Are you going to, just make excuses for yourself, even, and like be upset your family's like has boundary issues with you and get mad at you, but the reality is you're 22 years old and living in your parents' house still, and that they still pay for all your shit? And it's like he just says this stuff, and he gives these historical examples, and it's just, I'm continuing to be inspired by, like, you can either take it and be like, wow, like, oh, like how dare he say that? But it's like, it's tough because you might not be living where you want to be. And so you hear these messages and it just makes you, like what we brought up earlier, it gives you that kind of shame. But I think if we could inspire one kind of action, one commitment from myself, from everybody listening, from everybody in this room here on this podcast, it'd be, can I take like one of these things that we've discussed today, and can I start to take some steps on it? Because the reality is life is hard and it doesn't make excuses. You make excuses. But you can flip the scales, and you can harness a lot of the challenges as a kick in the pants of where you need to get better. And when you do get better there, when you do form your character, that only compounds over time and allows you to help more people. It allows you to inspire people. It allows you to have the strength to provide for a family. When you have a kid that's freaking out, you have the means and strength to withstand that and not get emotional and be able to provide them direction, help, and care. And countless other things we could talk about. And so let's cut the crap. Let's cut the complaining. Let's be dangerous men. It's been real, Peter. Thanks for coming on with us today.
Absolutely.
We're definitely excited to chat more. Yeah, I mean, we don't run any ads on here, guys. We're not trying to sell you anything. We just want to bring value to help men like ourselves where we've been to where we're going. We want you to join that journey with us. The only ask we could ever make is that you just share this episode with a friend who might need to hear this message today. It'll only take you 10 seconds, might make the difference in someone's life. I know for me, a podcast has made a difference in my life at the proper time. We're dropping these every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Subscribe so you never miss a moment. You've been listening to the Dangerous Man Podcast. Join us next time. Until then, stay dangerous.